Today we're going to cover adjectives, which is really exciting because this is really the last thing you need to learn before really getting into the Bible. The only other thing after adjectives is verbs, and that is a very big topic. And when I teach, I only teach verbs in second semester. So this is everything you need for the first semester, and after this, it's really getting into the Bible and reading it, so the next few lessons will just be that. And then down the road, perhaps we'll get into verbs, but that's a big topic. Okay, so adjectives. It's not that hard, but there's three different kinds of adjectives, so that's what I'm going to go over first. The attributive position of adjectives. So what we've got here is ish tov, and ish means man and tov means good. So in the attributive position, the tov is describing the ish. So when we translate in this class, of course you'd say, a good man in English. But when we translate in this class, we're going to say a man, a good one. Every time. If you turn something in with a translation, do it in that order. I know that's very awkward in English, and you would never put that in the actual translation you were publishing of the Bible, but it will help you immensely if you always translate that way. A man, a good one. I've learned that from past mistakes in teaching. So just always do that. A man, a good one. So ish tov, a man, a good one. Isha tova, a woman, a good one. Now, that brings us to what I've written in green here. The attributive position agrees in gender, number, and definiteness, meaning if it's the or a, right? Gender, number, and definiteness is what the attributive position agrees in, and it follows. If you want to think of attributive as agreeable, it agrees and it follows. Okay? So, Isha tova, a woman, a good one. And then we've got Hamelech, Hagadol, the king, the great one. Do you see how it agrees in definiteness? You've put an article on the noun, so the adjective needs to also get an article. So here we had a feminine noun, and so the adjective had to be feminine. So it agrees in gender, number, and definiteness. Now we'll do the number. Hamelech Hagadol is the king, the great one. Now some number here. Hanaviim, the prophets. Hanaviim Hagidolah. Hagidolim. Hanaviim Hagidolim. Now the vowel shortens to a shava here because we've added an extra syllable, and so the pronunciation rushes to get to the end. So it's ha-gidolim, ha-gidolim. So it's the prophets, the great ones. So Hamelech, Hagadol is the king, the great one. It agrees in gender, number, and definiteness. There's no, these are both singular. And the Hanaviim, Hagidolim is the prophets, the great ones. It agrees in gender, they're both masculine. Number, they're both plural. The im ending is the masculine plural. And definiteness, they both have the article. So, ish tov, a man, a good one. That's the attributive position. And that's the rules that it follows. Now, the predicate position. This is the other major position. There's two main ones. And this is, in English, we would say is. We'd put a predicate, like a verb in there, right? So tov ish, and you would say the man is good, but in this class, we're always going to say good is the man. I know that's clunky in English, but it will help you because what you want to do is preserve the Hebrew word order in your mind. Now, so for this class, you're going to write it that way. What you can do later is you'll think, good is the man, to smooth that out in English, I'll say, or I'll write in my translation, a man is good. So, tov ish, good is a man. I think I said the man before, but it's tov ish, good is a man. So what we're trying to do is preserve the word order. Ish tov, a man, a good one. Tov ish, good is a man. Good is a man. Okay? So, let's get to another one here. A feminine word. Cherev is sword, or perhaps dagger, and that's feminine. So, Gedolah, again, because we're adding a syllable, this shortens. Gedolah hacherev. So, great is the sword. Now, notice that it does not agree in definiteness. So the predicate position agrees only in gender and number. It does not agree in definiteness because the predicate position never takes the definite article. Hey patak doubling dot is the definite article. It's a hey patak and then a doubling dot in the next letter. So now, of course, in this case, there's no doubling dot because this is a guttural letter. But what's important here is that it only agrees in gender and number. And in this case, gender, because cherev is feminine. So, gedolah hacherev. Great is the sword. Let's try this one. Chazak hamelech. Strong is the king. Strong is the king. Okay. Chadash habayit. New is the house. So it's very important to preserve that order, and when it's in predicate position, if you see the adjective come first, you know that it's going to put an is, typically an is in there. But you don't need to worry about remembering these names if you do the word order that I'm suggesting. If you see this, you say ish tov, oh, a man, a good one. If you see it this way, tov ish, you say good is the man. So it helps your translation speed a lot, and it helps your learning, and it helps from getting things mixed up if you do it this way. Now, I do have to say that the predicate position precedes, but I put this little approximation symbol in there to say almost always. It usually precedes. There are times, rare occasions in the Bible, when the word order will be switched up in the predicate. And so you'll see ha'ish tov. And so you'll be tempted to think it's this, but you'll be like, well, wait a minute. If it's attributive, it should agree in definiteness. So because I see ha'ish tov, that can't be the man, the good one, because there's no the here. So what's going on here? Oh, this is one of those rare occasions where it's predicate position. So it's actually good is the man, is the translation here. Good is the man. So the fact that predicate position, the adjective never takes the definite article, will be your clue in that situation. Now, there are times when it's going to be this rare word ordering, and it's going to be an indefinite noun, in which case this is what you'll see in the Bible, ish tov, which looks exactly like this. So in these very rare occasions, only context will tell you which it means. That's unfortunate that that's the way, but that's the way the language works. Okay, so we got attributive and predicate positions. Those are the main two. There are also sometimes what we call a substantive, and we do the same thing in English, right? We say, the great and the small, referring to people. So we've turned the adjective into a noun, right? The weak can come, the Statue of Liberty. You give me your poor, right? So we've taken a adjective and turned it into a noun, meaning people or things that are that way. So here we've got Hagadol, the great, meaning the great ones, or the great ones, or the great one. But because English does it the same way, I think it's fine to just translate it the great. The great came into my banquet. People know what you mean. But you could say, you could add the word one if you want. And HaKadosh, the holy, or you could say the Holy One. So the Great One and the Holy One, or you could just say the Great and the Holy. And when it's substantive, it will usually have a definite article. So that's a sign, it's a helpful sign. And we do the same thing in English. So it usually has the definite article, and I mean, obviously if it's not modifying a noun in any way, that's a clue that it's going to be substantive. There's one last thing to say about adjectives, and that is that there's no special form in Hebrew for comparative or superlative. So while in English we have a special form for greater or greatest, comparative or the superlative, they don't have that, which is convenient. So in Hebrew, you might read this, Gadol HaMelech min ha-eved. So we've got great is the king from the servant. Now, if you remember our lesson on min, it can be than. So if you translate it than, you've got to show that it's comparative. You've got Gadol HaMelech min ha-eved. Great is the king than the servant. That shows you that, okay, this is a comparative thing. And so to translate that smoothly in English, I would say, greater is the king than the servant. Another example is, Tov Zahav Mekesef. Good is gold than silver, from silver. So we would say, good is gold than silver. And of course, you can't say gooder in English, so we would say better is gold than silver. Better is gold than silver. So that is the way they do. They don't really have special forms for them, which is nice. We don't have to learn any endings or anything. But that's how you do comparative and superlative. And our next lesson, we'll just go through a Bible passage and translate it together, and we'll be putting all these things together, all the things we've been learning. So that's where it really gets exciting and rewarding to actually be able to get into the text.